we go. Tip off, Gilas Pilipinas playing from right to left of your screen. Kai Soto showing off his rage, gets that ball. It's Quinito Henson with almost a patented rebound.
Yeah, for sure.
Pull up three again, and Gilas Pilipinas not afraid to pull the trigger. So Tarachi with a kick out to Haidar. Arlich, all the time in the world, brings the first three for Lebanon. 49-47, just 2-point lead here for Lebanon. Gilas Pilipinas, Jordan Clarkson right now. Open look for Dwight Ramos. Dwight with a mini 5-0 run of his own. You know, that went in. You're talking about how high.
Something that.
Oh, Clarkson almost lost his balance and dip-see-doo. And Scott Thompson have work to do defensively. Gets the third one fall, and there's a foul there on Jack Aguilar. It looks like
The 3-point shooting of Lebanon.
Lebanon taking the victory over the Philippines by 4, 85-81, in what was a great matchup between these two.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time. I'm Ed Lingao. The big story tonight. Gilas Pilipinas is facing Saudi Arabia tonight at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay City. And my partner, Gretchen Ho, is joining us live at the MOA Arena to give us the latest. Gretchen, kamusta ang laban dyan?
Ed, good to be reporting to you live from the Mall of Asia Arena, where thousands have made their way to watch the first official home game of Jordan Clarkson in a Gilas Pilipinas jersey. And it's nice, just imagine, more than 2 years into the pandemic, and this is the first time we're seeing full stands cheer for our Gilas boys. Tickets were already sold out as early as a week ago, even if prices reached a high of 10,000 pesos. Well, it turned out to be worth it for the fans here, as Pilipinas is leading at halftime 37-28. Slow start, though, from the Philippines in the first quarter as our players struggled to make their shots. It's a good thing that Jordan Clarkson was able to make his threes, including that buzzer beater to end the first quarter with Gilas still trailing 11-14. In the second quarter, Jordan Clarkson continued the rampage, but the others already stepped up with Dwight Ramos, Japet Aguilar, and Kai Soto showing their own slams. Now, they ended the first half at 37-28 with Jordan Clarkson having 17 points. Is the game going so far as expected? I'd like to think so. The boys are still getting warmed up, and the fans are having it. They're loving the sight of Jordan Clarkson in a Gilas Pilipinas jersey. And we got a lot of special people in the venue. Some of the names I got here: Senator Angara, JB Ejercito, Joel Villanueva, Mayor Vico Soto, Bossing Vic Soto, and later on we are expecting the President himself, Bongbong Marcos. We saw a while ago a lot of Presidential Security Group members scanning the area, doing their security checks. He's still not here, though. He's about to make his way, hopefully in time for the second half. But it's as exciting as it gets as we go towards the fourth quarter. Is that how things are going to continue on? Well, we'll get to know that with our analyst, Philippine Star columnist, and PBA analyst Quinito Henson, who is joining us also live via Zoom. Welcome to the big story, Sir Quinito.
Hi there. Nice to see you, Ed, and nice to see you, Gretchen.
Good evening, sir. Sir, how do you assess the performance so far of Gilas?
Sir Quinito.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Gretchen. Go. Anyway.
Well, a slow start for the Philippines.
Sasabihin ko lang, Ed, sayang wala siya dito live eh.
Oo nga! But I wanted to make myself available for your show. That's why I'm here. But,
may bola naman
what
si Sir,
you like about this game is that, number one, we are out-rebounding Saudi Arabia. We're out-rebounding them by 7. I think we've also done very well in holding down our turnovers. You remember, of course, when natalo tayo ng Lebanon, we had 21 turnovers, and that really was the difference maker. But this time, only 6 turnovers plus 10 assists. So yung assist-to-turnover ratio natin, looking good.
Sir, I understand na wala yung parang power player ng Saudi, who is Muhammad Al Sualem. How does that factor into how the game is being played tonight?
Well, he's a 6'10" player, so he definitely would have made an impact. But you know, with Saudi Arabia, they generate their offense not really from their bigs, but from their guards. They have a good set of guards and wingmen who can distribute the ball and who can get the open shot. So I really think that the only way that Saudi Arabia can beat us is if they hit like maybe 50% their three-point shots. But that's not going to happen. I think our defense is going to be a lot stiffer, a lot tighter in the second half. And I think we're going to blow them away before this game is over.
Alright, Sir Quinito, I'm just very curious because sabi nga ng mga coaching staff dito, we're looking at the long-term program for Gilas. So if this is quite an easy win, what do you think would be crucial and what would you like to see in the second half of how these boys gel together?
Well, I'd like to see tougher defense, and I noticed that in stretches in the first half, Saudi Arabia was very vulnerable to the trap because their ball carriers are not exactly the best in Asia. So I think they're going to be very vulnerable and susceptible to turnovers, especially when we tighten the grips on our trap. But let's see how that goes, because while we concentrate on defense, and so far, by the way, that's been very good. We held Saudi Arabia to 14 points in the first quarter, another 14 points in the second quarter. That's very good, considering that in the second quarter, we had 26 points. But of course, we had that slow start. We only had 11 points in the first quarter. But you're going to see Jordan Clarkson assert his superiority a lot more. I don't think so much on the offensive end in terms of scoring points. I'd like to see him passing that ball and getting his teammates involved in the offense.
Sir, you said a while ago that you expect the Gilas team to blow them away before, or at least during the second half. Is it fair to say that's already your feelers forecast for the entire game today, or is it just a hopeful? Is it just a hopeful pitch?
Let's put it this way, Ed. It's my fearful forecast instead of fearless forecast. But I think we have the capability of doing that. I think we can blow them away if we just make sure that our trap defense is in sync, and then their ball carriers are not able to cross that line and get their shots off within 24 seconds. I think we have a good chance of blowing this team away. Once we get our offensive gears going, I think we're going to see a very, very fluid Gilas on the floor.
Sir Quinito, we're already seeing the core of the FIBA World Cup team forming at this point. How do you think this pool or this lineup could fare against some of the bigger teams like China, Lebanon, and Japan?
I'm very excited, but you also have to remember that we will be getting some players from the two PBA teams that are playing in the finals. So Junmar Fajardo, CJ Perez, those guys are RR Pogoy. Those guys are probably going to come into the pool as well. But, it's not a matter of getting the best players. It's a matter of getting the best team to perform like a unit. And I think with the 3 months of preparation that are being planned for Gilas, I think we're going to be in very, very good shape when the World Cup comes around.
Okay, we're all keeping our fingers crossed, sir. So we do hope that what you said, that we will blow them away, will really happen. Okay, we're counting on that. Thank you, sir. Maraming salamat, Philippine Star columnist. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And PBA analyst Quinito Henson, sir. Maraming salamat for joining us tonight. And after the break, NBA star Jordan Clarkson makes a surprise visit to the tenement court in Taguig. That and more when a big story returns. Keep it here in One News.
Haizi is a father in his 30s. He's just one of hundreds of thousands of homebuyers caught up in China's property crisis. For his safety, we're not using his real name or voice. A government crackdown on the country's debt-saddled property firms has led to a serious cash crunch for some of his biggest developers.
How big of a problem is this?
A real crisis of confidence.
Have we seen the worst of it?
As they run out of money, construction of apartments have taken years longer to finish, or in some cases, come to a halt altogether. Home homebuyers like Haizi were left in the lurch, servicing a monthly mortgage after handing over a 30% down payment for homes still under construction. Frustrated and desperate, homebuyers vented on social media, eventually boycotting their mortgage payments.
We've now seen boycotts on mortgage payments across more than 320 unfinished projects in over 100 cities in China. The speed and the scale of the protests has taken many by surprise in a country where social dissent is typically relatively small in scale and relatively localized.
Haizi lives in Zhengzhou, a city that has seen payment boycotts on over 60 unfinished housing projects.
回到郑州以后，也一直在观察，想买一个位置比较好一点的，就是说考虑到孩子上学什么嘛，我孩子相对也比较小，到24年才到这个上学年龄，所以说就在2020年的时候买的这套房子。全面停工应该发生在去年，就是2021年年底12月份。刚开始嘛，大家也没有头绪，到那个高新区住建局去送这个上访的资料啦，向领导们表达诉求啦。5月底6一儿童节前后，还组织了几次到 CBD 的夜跑活动，因为上面穿了一个带有西塘 logo 的西塘加油，就带这4个字，其他没有。跑步的3天也是警车全程逼随，然后最后一天被拦下来不让跑了，不让跑那后边也就没再跑过。觉得这些传统的方法也不太有效，并且就是风险比较大，最终大家就是自媒体嘛，就自己这一些号向外发声。
Local media reported on their efforts, which helped prompt the local government to step in. In July, authorities said in a social media post that they retrieved $150 million from the developers and will ask state-owned firms to take over the project and finish construction. Officials pledged to hand over apartments to homebuyers in 2024, a full year later than promised.
Marcos personally led the commemoration of the National Heroes Day at the Libingan ng mga Bayani on Monday. Together with Armed Forces Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Bartolome Bacaro, the President offered a wreath to honor Filipino heroes. In his speech, President Marcos gave assurance to all war veterans that the administration will implement programs for their needs and health condition.
Kaisa ng Philippine Veterans Affairs Office, magpapatayo tayo ng mga ospital sa Visayas at Mindanao na ilalaan natin para sa ating mga veterano na malalampas.
He also recognized the contributions of modern-day heroes like farmers, OFWs, medical workers, soldiers, and other frontline workers.
Huwag nawa natin ikulong ang ating mga sarili sa hidwaan at paghihilahan ng pababa. Sa halip, maging instrumenta tayo ng pagkakaisa, ng kapayapaan.
Vice President Sara Duterte also honored the country's heroes. In her statement, she emphasized that the public must not only look back with admiration at our heroes' patriotism, but also look at the future of our country. She is hopeful that Filipinos will never squander the lessons of the past and instead use them to awaken all the greatest heroes inside our hearts. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Fewer public utility vehicles are expected to ply roads starting Tuesday as fuel companies are set to implement another round of oil price increases. Jenny Dongon with the story.
Lolo Idalberto has been plying his normal route since 4 a.m. this morning. But after 8 hours, he only earned 300 pesos. After refueling, he is left with only 50 pesos and had to make do with coffee for lunch. To be able to meet the 350 pesos boundary and earned an additional take-home pay of at least 200 pesos, he needs to ferry passengers until 10 in the evening. But with another round of price increase in diesel, he is planning to look for alternative livelihood.
Kung wala na kaming kikitain sa pagbabiyahe, wala din mangyayari. Buti pa, mag-construction na lang. Ang gobyerno natin parang niluloko na lang kami ng ganyan, bababa, tataas ng todo. Sila mga gobyerno, bahala sila kung anong baka gusto nilang kahirapan ng gusto yung mga mamamayan.
Prices of gasoline and kerosene are expected to jump to more than 6 pesos per liter, while gasoline prices will pick up by ₱1.40 per liter starting Tuesday. This is the second straight week of big-time price hikes after 7 weeks of continuous price rollbacks. Because of this, transport groups warned the public of fewer jeepneys on the road.
Talagang ganun po ang mangyayari po, ma'am, dahil bakit ka mapapasada kung hindi ka naman kikita? Hindi naman po pwede na magsakripisyo kami na walang kikitain para sa pamilya.
The Federation of Jeepney Operators and Drivers Association of the Philippines, or FEDJADOP, is asking for an additional 2 peso fare hike on jeepneys. The group says it does not want to pass the burden of the increase in fuel prices to passengers, but the members say they also need to earn. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, says it will release its decision on this latest fare hike petition next week.
They're due naman talaga na. For increase kasi the last time we had this fare rate increase was ang level pa lang ng diesel noon was I think 44 pesos per liter. Just a question of that, kung magkano yung maibibigay namin.
For News 5, Jenny Dongon, PR1 News.
Despite only being in the country for about a week, Jordan Clarkson made sure to savor every moment and give back to Filipino fans. More in my report. Before heading on to the Gilas versus Saudi game, Utah Jazz star Jordan Clarkson made sure to reconnect with some of young Pinoy ballers as he visited the famous court at the tenement in Taguig. The NBA Sixth Man of the Year's visit was a surprise to many, just like Anton Victor. The 18-year-old Anton met JC back in 2016 when he was still a rookie.
Simula dumating po siya, naging panya na po. Malaki po yung puso. Na-inspire niya ako sa work hard. Try hard lang po, lagi. Ayun po, nakikita ko sa kanya.
The iconic tenement basketball court holds a special place in the heart of many NBA stars like LeBron James, Paul George, and even the late Kobe Bryant. Count Jordan Clarkson among them. Though it may have been his third visit to the court, Clarkson says it was a sweet homecoming. To give back to his supporters in the area, Clarkson and his team gave 50 pairs of basketball shoes, t-shirts, and basketballs.
Hi Jordan Clarkson, good luck sa'yo pati sa Gilas, Pilipinas. Proud na proud kami sa'yo.
And as a reminder to young athletes in the country, Jordan had this to say.
Just staying the course. That's what it's about. You know, Kobe kind of took me on his wing there every morning, putting the work in.
Aside from sharing his talent, Jordan revealed that his biggest motivation for representing the flag is none other than his late grandmother.
Just trying to carry her name, make her proud, still continue to this day. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why I still do this and represent the flag and represent the country.
As Jordan's quick visit to the country is set to come to an end, he reassured the fans his big heart for Gilas and his commitment for the 2023 FIBA World Cup.
Seeing Kai Soto, Carl, you know, young guys like that, Dwight, you know, just talented players being surrounded and trying to put us in a position to make the Olympics and, you know, hopefully win, you know, the World Cup when we come here, you know, in like 360 days.
Right after the break, we will give you more live updates on the ongoing game between Gilas Pilipinas and Saudi Arabia. Keep it here on One News.
Employers over the past 2 years. The pandemic led to a booming job market where employees could name the terms of their contracts, but recession fears might be reverting the balance of power back to the pre-COVID status quo. Companies like Shopify, Netflix, and most recently HBO are also laying off employees. There are actually more layoffs at tech firms in May than in the last 4 months of the year combined. So what does that mean for where workplace power dynamics are heading? Let's go ask Matt Boyle.
You're basically able to still tell your employer, look, I want a raise or I want some more flexibility to work from home. And if you don't give me that, I'm probably out the door. I think we're going to learn a lot more next month when companies like Apple and Peloton impose return to office mandates. That's going to say a lot about where this balance of power between bosses and workers shakes out.
So there may still be time for you to put in that request to work from home or even ask for a raise that keeps up with inflation. Workers have taken a bit of the power back from their employers over the past 2 years. The pandemic led to a booming job market where employees could name the terms of their contracts, but recession fears might be reverting the balance of power back to the pre-COVID status quo. Companies like Shopify, Netflix, and most recently HBO are also laying off employees. There are actually more layoffs at tech firms in May than in the last 4 months of the year combined. So what does that mean for where workplace power dynamics are heading? Let's go ask Matt Boyle.
You're basically able to still tell your employer, look, I want a raise or I want some more flexibility to work from home. And if you don't give me that, I'm probably out the door. I think we're going to learn a lot more next month when companies like Apple and Peloton impose return to office mandates. That's going to say a lot about where this balance.
You're still watching the big story here in One News. The PNP barred some personalities from visiting former Senator Laila de Lima as she celebrated another birthday behind bars, the 6th since she was detained. But authorities say they were simply following protocol. Mara Enriquez with the details.
Former Senator Laila de Lima celebrated her 63rd birthday in her detention cell in Camp Crame. She invited 10 of her friends for a 2-hour visit last Saturday, August 27. But sadly, all of them were barred from visiting her. One of them was Albay 1st District Representative Edsel Lagman. He was already at the PNP Custodial Center when he was notified that their group was denied entry to visit the former senator.
Kami ay meron pang antigen negative test kasi requirement daw yun. Kami tayo malungkot. At sa aking palagay, hindi makatarungan at arbitraryo yung denial ng request ni Senator de Lima.
Lagman was surprised by the decision of the PNP Custodial Center because it was the first time they were barred from visiting de Lima.
Hindi naman kami security risk, hindi naman kami conspirators, kami mga kaibigan at defenders ni Senator de Lima. At yung nagre-request naman ay hindi naman convicted.
In a blog post, Professor Monsod also called the move cruel, brutal, and callous, especially since the PNP made the decision on the day of de Lima's birthday. But the PNP insisted that de Lima and her guests were not deprived of their constitutional rights. They say de Lima's VIP guests merely filed a late request to visit the former senator. The PNP explained there has been a long-standing policy that a written request to visit a person in police custody must be made at least 10 working days before the date of visit, subject to the approval of the PNP chief or the regional director. Authorities noted that based on their records, the PNP Custodial Center received the request letter on August 22, just 4 days before the planned visit. The police adds that they still tried to process the request, but to no avail. The PNP also insisted that they informed De Lima informally the night before her birthday. The Justice Department also defended the PNP Custodial Center, saying it's just following protocols. The DOJ also noted that De Lima could have asked for permission from the court, just like what U.S. Senator Edward Markey did. Despite the issue, immediate family members of the former senator were still able to visit her on her birthday. De Lima's camp refused to give further statements on the matter. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
The hard court continues to heat up between Gilas, Pilipinas and Saudi Arabia. Let's get the latest on the ground with Gretchen Ho reporting live from the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay City. Gretchen, kumusta dyan? What's the latest?
And huge third quarter for Gilas Pilipinas as they extend their lead to 25, 61-36 at the end of the third quarter. Jordan Clarkson, of course, led the way from the get-go, from the first quarter up until now. He has more than 20 points, and he got the other guys going. Dwight Ramos, Kai Soto, Ray Parks, Malonzo all had their bright moments, and it's nice to see the Gilas in this shape, with this kind of confidence. A lot of good vibes also greeted the arrival of President Bongbong Marcos. He is already in the venue. He's in the game watching beside our chairman, Manny V. Pangilinan. And it's a good sign for our Gilas boys. At least we got good news for our president to give. We also saw a lot of senators inside the halls. Of course, they're known to be sports fans. Senator Joel Villanueva, J.V. Ejercito, Sani Angara. They were seen throwing balls to the audiences. You also have sports personalities, former basketball players, PBA players all here. Of course, thousands of fans. A while ago, we were able to talk to some fans coming from Tacloban, coming from Samar. They flew just to watch this Gilas game, and we're having quite a show. Jordan Clarkson showing us what it means to be NBA Sixth Man of the Year.
Okay, Gretz, balikan ko lang yung score so far. What was the score again, and how many more minutes do we have, more or less, left in the third quarter?
61-36, that's the end of the third quarter. Meron pa tayong isang quarter. Bok, medyo nakahinga naman na tayo pagkatapos ng third quarter na yon, at i-enjoy na lang natin yung last quarter. Hopefully, sabi nga ni Sir Quinito, liamado naman tayo sa larong ito. Sana magtuloy-tuloy na, but I don't think we're looking at that. We're looking at our overall performance, getting this team going. And isa pa napansin natin, no, kay Coach Shot Reyes, nung pumasok siya, every time he's shown on the screen, he's getting a lot of boost from the crowd. So that's a little bit sad, but hopefully with this win, the chanter of that would lessen, and some appreciation, of course, for the hard work of our Gilas boys.
Yeah, and if the trend continues, we're looking at not just a good win, but a great win. So far we have 61 versus 36. That's a pretty good score so far.
No, napakaganda niyan, Bok, talaga. Lalong-lalo na medyo matindi yung pinagdaanan nitong Gilas squad na to. Ngayon, we're seeing it getting better and better. Hopefully, these guys get a lot more practice time together. Yun naman sinasabi nila, gelling is the most important thing. Even if we have Jordan Clarkson, Kai Soto in the lineup, if they don't get practice time together, and hopefully they do get that. We are about 360 days away from the FIBA World Cup. Jordan Clarkson has expressed his commitment to this team all the way to 2023, and that's the big thing. He's stepping up into that leadership role. He knows that a lot of this is on his shoulders, and hopefully we see him embracing more of stepping up for the team whenever we need him.
Okay, and as Gretchen mentioned, President Marcos is already there at the MOA Arena watching the game. I think inabutan pa niya yung third quarter before they went into a break of some sort. Okay, let's show some video. Well, not video, it was they're actually pictures. But there you go.
Tingnan si President Bongbong Marcos sa venue. Oo, kanina pa natin inaantay, Bok, si President Bongbong Marcos. Nalaman nga natin noong hapon na dadating siya. There were a lot of PSG personnel here scanning the area. In fact, our signals are jammed, so I can't access my Twitter and my internet from the inside. Some do medyo nahirapan kami doon, but it's all for the safety, of course, of our President who has made this gesture. And I think for Filipino sports fans, that's a huge thing to have your president support our national programs. Hopefully that translates into more funding, more support, but that's a different conversation altogether.
Okay, maraming salamat. That's our co-anchor Gretchen Hall reporting to us live from the MOA Arena in Pasay City. Thank you, Gretchen. And that's a big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analysis. I'm Ed Lingao. So, the big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News, all sides, all the time.